So welcome back. Today I'm going to show you the second part of the top moves from Yoshimitsu that you have to use as a basic foundation, and you can revolve your gimmicks around to apply pressure and to open up your opponent. I tried recording this video 8 times and this is the last time. I promise I will not do it again. If it's shit now, then it will stay shit forever. The first move is down 4-3-1, which is a mid string with a startup from 17. It is +4 on hit. Keep in mind the opponent is forced into crouch. That means you can only step in one direction. And on block it is -9, which means you can Kitcho parry, jabs, duck, flash, whatever you want. But I advise you to just block, actually. This move is very good on Oki because the first hit whiffs, but the second hit hits them grounded. The second hit actually gives a very nice knockdown for us. Where down 4-4 hits them if they try to get up. And you can use a CD1 if you condition them to stay on the ground to get your flip over Oki. The applications for this move are more on Oki side because it is very steppable. There's no tracking to either side, even on plus frames. And if you want to check someone when you're actually after a down 4-1, for instance, down to 2 is mostly the better option because it just leaves you in a better situation. But the range of this string is huge. Like you saw that was range 4 and it still connects. So the range is huge, it is safe, and the first hit is what I mostly use. It is a mid +4, -4 on block, and it can transition into crouch. +4 into crouch is very annoying for the opponent. I do not advise you doing things like sword sweep, and Yoshimitsu's full crouch game isn't what it used to be, but it is still a very good situation. If they will step, you can do this, but what I like to do, what is my favorite option, is wild standing 1. Wild standing 1 is a frame trap from this, and they cannot jab you because you're already in full crouch. Is +1 on hit, is of course safe, and on counter hit, if you can confirm this, which is very easy to confirm into a counter hit, you can get wild standing 1-2, which is +14, and gives you a very nice situation. You can delay this quite a bit, so even on block, this is still a very good situation where you can fish for counter hits because it has the same counter hit animation as 4-2, of course. And afterwards, the spin make it kind of safe. And of course, you can only do the 1 and do nothing afterwards, which in my opinion is the best option because it's a frame trap and it has good range, the 1. I'm too stupid to do wild standing 1. And it has decent tracking after hitting this on hit when you're +4. And you can also do a backdash into forward 1+2, which I like if the opponent backdashes, this hits tip range. Or Fubukini is also a very decent option here. And of course up forward 4 to catch a down tracking. The next move we're gonna cover is up forward 1, sorry. Which is a counter hit orbital here with startup 24 frames, so it's seeable offline, arguably seeable. They buffed this move in every fucking season, and now it is actually a good move. It's a counter hit orbital, like I said, has no tracking, even on +5, so keep that in mind. It has good range for an orbital here. It hits from around 2.7, so around here. As I said, +5 on max range, even +6, forces crouch, so that means they can only step in one direction, and that's even a case where I oftentimes press buttons afterwards. On hit, on block, it is -4 to -5, which they buffed in Season 4, so you can flash afterwards, Kitcho parry, but the best option when they block this is just sidestep block, in my opinion, to avoid a lot of options and be safe, because -4 is a very good time to sidestep. And when you hit this move, Fubukini, down to 2, you name it, all your options are very viable in this state. And even down forward 1+2, 2 I think, is a viable option in my opinion afterwards. The option that I use most of the time is sidestep 1. or while running free. If they depends on the side they're playing at, because if they're in crouch, they cannot step this. And afterwards, I'm +9, and if they duck, I get a free hit, a free knockdown. A very, very good situation for me. And this move is also very good as a low crush, because it crushes quicker than a hop kick and is accessible from full crouch. So keep that in mind. And because the range is good, if you hit this at range 0 and they backdash, they will still block this move. And of course, on counted, it gives huge reward, which is always great. And as a keep out tool, it's not that good because the move has one downside. It cannot be done from up 1, which would be great, without moving forward. That's the only thing that the move actually lacks. But it has very good properties overall. The next move are actually 2 moves. It is down back 4, 17 frame low. This is my key low actually. It is -12, which means that no character can launch it. And it is -1 on hit, which sounds bad, but the matter of this move always used to be sidestep 1 afterwards. So the range is decent. It hits from 2.5, 2.4. Doesn't change the frame though, but if you hit this at max range, CD2 is also a very good option because they're going to block it at tip range. And as I said, the meta was always sidestep 1 afterwards, which is still very good because the range of sidestep 1 makes it that even if they backdash, they will block this, and you can hella delay the sidestep 1. Even if you step like this and you press it, it will still come out. So you can really try to mix up your timing here. And since you now have the 2-1, which is a I-10 safe high mid counter combo, which gives a very good knockdown for a CD1 at max range, and wall splats, of course, this is now very, very annoying. And you always could flash afterwards if the opponent tries to check you with a down forward 1 or a down forward 2, or you could Kitcho parry. But in my opinion, sidestep block or sidestep 1. Sometimes I even go for down 4 or some other lows afterwards, like 2 down 1, 2 down 3, sorry. The options are limitless. You can also backdash and down for 2, but that is only decent at max range. At max range, it is very easy to create whips, but otherwise you are too close. So overall a very good low, but only good combined with down 4, because down back 4 has the weakness that it is not a high crush, which means that characters with good magic force, for instance, or good high counter tools that are quick, can easily counter hit you for throwing this out too much. One thing to note, what I forgot, this actually tracks to Yoshimitsu's weak side, to his left, which is also very good. But down 4, his generic down 4, which is a I-12 frame low, tracks to both sides. And that's why for Yoshimitsu it's so important to abuse this move. It is -2 on hit and -13 on block, so you have to be careful against characters like Kazuya. But the range is decent. It hits from 2.3, like this. And it is an instant high crush. And I like to think about it not as a way to enter full crouch, because you're -2. You can sometimes go for something, but I wouldn't advise that. But you can easily set up a sidestep 2. Sidestep 1. You can easily set up a flash if the opponent tries to mash buttons afterwards. And if you start to condition them and they respect the down 4, then you can start to mix them up with a full crouch game, but with a little bit of salt and with caution, of course. And this is mostly used to track the opponent from sidestepping and for interrupts. For instance, in the matchup against Horang, flash sometimes just doesn't work because Horang creates distance on hit. And even he does a move, you don't flash him for some reason. And every time a character transitions into a stance and I don't want to commit to flash or a Kitcho parry, I do down 4. Because if they cannot launch it, I can get them out of the stance and annoy them with this. And they cannot pressure me. And for that, it is a very, very good tool. For instance, if Lee does a down 3, I do this a lot to interrupt his stance transition, because he cannot step this, he cannot power crush me. It's a very good option in a lot of scenarios. very underused from most Yoshi players. There's the same application that on max range, if you do one backdash, you're actually here. And this is a situation where jabs can easily whiff or down forward 1, so you be ready for a down forward 2. The next move is sidestep 4. I have a love and hate relationship with this move. It's his best homing move, 16 frame high, which, as I said, is a homing move. And on counter it gives a huge combo, very comparable to Paul's quarter circle back 4. Most people see this as an option to mix up with Kitcho. I'm on the negative side of that. I don't use that for that reason. I just use it in neutral without transitioning. Then it's still 0 and sometimes +1. And you can set up a 2-1 or maybe a flash or a rule kick. There are a lot of options afterwards. But this is to keep your opponent honest, keep them on their toes. Don't let them overstep this. If you +5, just throw it in there. If they press buttons, you're going to score the counter hit. If they try to step, they will be forced to block it because it's too slow to hit them. It's not like a lost back 4. They can step block this, but you're 0. Nothing happened. And you check them. And they will not tend to sidestep down for 2 you. And if they sidestep hop kick, you still get a float because it spins them airborne, which is very good. What I like about the move is it is very hard to whiff punish if you transition into mat stance and then just mat cancel or do a mat down back 1 or a mat 2. I recently used this move a lot when spacing opponents out because it's actually hard to whiff punish, for me at least. And the options from mat canceling are very good. And it's only -1. I thought I remembered that this was -3 on block, but it's only -1, which is still not good. It still means that if they block this and you don't want to score a counter hit with down back 1, it is very risky, but still a decent thing to keep in mind because you can use this if you're not too stupid to do it. And there are a lot of options from mat cancel. The Kitcho transition, I'm kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's +3 when you go into the Kitcho transition, and with Kitcho forward 1, it tracks both sides at this state, and on counter hit gives huge reward, and they cannot backdash it. But for some reason, the 1+2 is still inconsistent, which means that if they sidestep block, now it hits, right? But when I practiced this with Dragunov, I could still step this sometimes, like this. Even if we block the sidestep 4. So if the stealth buff is real and I'm just overlooking it right now, then it is a very good mix-up. But if it's not, be careful with this. Just don't overuse the Kitcho transition to pressure opponents. At the wall, sometimes you can use this, but every option can be stepped and low blocked if the 1+2 still doesn't track. I like to do this, just do it and do it over again without transitioning. And then when you need damage, go for the 4-2. For the big counter hit payoff. And yeah, Kitcho is, in my opinion, a stance where you want the opponent to press buttons, but most people don't do that because you're overusing Kitcho's offensive options. But you're never going to score a counter hit with Kitcho 3 or another Kitcho 4 or whatever if you just going to press buttons every time. You have to get them to think, okay, I'm safe. I will do a down forward 1, and then boom, they will eat the damage. Last move is, I think, the most important mid with down forward 1 and down forward 2, which is 3-4, the Tsunami kicks. This move cannot be overstated. The best mid, in my opinion, with the other 2 mids that I told you. Huge range, a huge range double mid that low crushes, hits from range 4 almost, is +3 on hit, which is a good situation, but doesn't mean that you should always press buttons. Best option, sidestep 1, but sometimes you can try to counter them with a down forward 1-2, or you can down forward 4 to check them. What I like to do afterwards is down forward 2 sometimes. You have a lot of options, and you're close enough for a down forward 1+2 with the follow-up. But they can still step on -3. But the move gets very interesting. First, if it's blocked, because it's -6, which is very good. And at -6, you can flash if they try to down forward 1 you, for instance, or you can Kitcho parry if they jab. But it is very interesting because the dragonfly transition is actually +5 on block. And the dragonfly stance is one of the most aggressive and best stances in my opinion. He has a normal hit launcher that is +3 on block from this stance, which is 16 frames, which means that most people will jab because they don't want to deal with this on block. So if you know that the opponent is gonna jab, you can of course duck and do something like a hop kick. I do sometimes a sword sweep. If he does the jab string, you can duck flash. There are a lot of options here. I would advise you to just backdash and maybe sidestep. Maybe you can spin. Sidestepping at -6 is kind of risky, but you could do it. Or down 4. There are a lot of options here. But the interesting thing about the move is you do this to check your opponent's knowledge. If the opponent is a not very experienced player against Yoshimitsu, it could be that he does a slow mid because he thinks it's his turn. And then, you know, okay, I will save this data, and when I need the damage, I will go for this. If they done neutral block after this on hit, the two will also connect. So the opponent must know that they have to hold back if you throw this out. And most opponents who think they know, and that is really the best situation for you, they're gonna press jabs after blocking this. And if they do, they're not confirming that you're transitioning into dragonfly, and then you can duck and hop kick them. Sometimes people just throw the hop kick because he crushes highs, but best is to duck hop kick. And when you see someone jabbing, you know he thinks he knows, and then you will save this up. Don't use it immediately, and when it's 2-2 in the clutch, you will pull this out. And he's like, what the fuck is this idiot doing? You will save this in your data, and you hold it until you need the damage. And when he's afraid of jabbing, then is when the mix-up is alive again, because if he tries to down force 1 you can go into Dragonfly 2 and launch him. If the opponent, however, does a sidestep into block, that means that you should be very careful, because that means that the opponent knows Yoshimitsu and knows what options you have available, because all the options are nullified by sidestep into block. Which means that you have to be very careful how you use this move if the opponent does that, but most people jab, so then the move is very viable. I still think that all the moves I showed you are not viable for checking purposes, because down to 2 outshines most of them, even though this tool is also very good. The tracking sadly is gone. You have to know this, so even if you're like neutral or plus, this used to track, but it doesn't anymore, so be aware of that. If someone is stepping this, please transition it to Dragonfly to not eat a full punish. Yeah, and if you whiff this, please also go into Dragonfly to eat a less damaging punish. So overall, this was the next 6 moves that I wanted to cover, and I have one more little announcement and one more question. So the first announcement is that I will buy a PC on Black Friday to post more content and make my content higher quality. That's just, please leave me some feedback what you want to see, what kind of content revolving Yoshi or other characters you want to see, because I play a lot of characters and I enjoy a lot of characters. And now we come to the interesting question. So, my videos, the most viewed videos, are between 4 to 7 minutes. And in 4 to 7 minutes, I only can give you a very brief explanation about 5 moves. Most experienced Yoshi players will watch my video and say, man, I know that down tilt 2 is a good move, and I for sure know that 3 tilde 4 is a good move. I've been using this move since 10 years, and you didn't even play Tekken back then. Why should I listen to you? I understand that. So I want to know if people want that I spend more time, because for me, I could theorize about Tekken and about the situations the whole day. That's the beauty of this game. For me, this game is a study. And I really want to go in depth in these situations and tell you what layers of mind games are actually revolving the situation, what can happen, what you should have in your mind, how to predict your opponent, how to condition your opponent. And that is what I think I have to offer in my channel. You can go to other channels to find tech because they're way better Yoshi players. But I think I'm pretty decent in explaining easily what is the mind game, how you can define the mind game, how you can condition. And if I do that, the video will get 20 minutes long. And I think most people will be bored and not enjoying me talking 20 minutes about 5 boring moves. So I want to know, what is more important for you? The brief overview so you can take it and go from there? Or are you here for the deep analysis, for the real boring theory to learn every small little detail about the situation? Because that's what I'm actually pretty good at. Please leave a comment. Please all leave comments so I really have a good overview about what the people want to see about this character and what do they already know. So thanks for staying with me such a long time, and I hope to see you in